All right, welcome back. Oh, we're trying to get in focus here. Oh, good. So it's been a second since we've been back in the studio here. I'm going to steal that term from my buddy Seth Moore, because that's what he calls his little shoe area. But anyway, we're going to do a little shoe review today. We're going to do a series of reviews on a very interesting and special shoe from a very small company, and that company is Speedland. So stay tuned. Welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the vlog. I'm very excited today to start a series of reviews on the Speedland shoe. This is the SL PDX from Speedland. Now, if you don't know about Speedland, that's because they're a very small, relatively new company, and these shoes were provided to me by Speedland. And what I mean by Speedland is the two guys that run Speedland, Dave and Kevin. So thank you for providing me these shoes to do a review, to test them out, and get some miles in them. As you can tell, they're still very new because we've been recovering and training for, actually training and racing and then recovering from the 2021 Boston Marathon. Check that out, 2021 Boston Marathon. I got the medal up on the board, and it was a very difficult training cycle with some injuries involved. I won't get into any of that stuff. But we made it through the Boston Marathon. We qualified for next year's Boston Marathon to make it number 12 in a row. This is number 11 in a row for me. And my wife is also training for the Boston Marathon, and she completed number 6 in a row. So, and we're all very excited to be done with that training cycle so that we can start it immediately again for April of 2022. Oh my goodness. Anyway, enough about that. Into the shoe. Man, this is a very special shoe, and hopefully it meets the hype, because this is got some stuff in it that is very unusual to running shoes. Anyway, this is an overview of the shoe. In this video, we're going to go through the specifications of the shoe, some of the materials, what it's meant for, and then we're going to take it out and go for a run in another video, and hopefully that'll be today. And so let's get right into it. So let's start with the bottom. The bottom is an all-terrain lugged bottom made by Michelin. So you can see here, right there, Michelin. Just like the tire company, it has 6mm lugs, but these are very customizable. So if you don't like 6mm lugs, you can actually cut off, and it's hard to see in the shot here, but you can actually cut off little portions of the top of them and make them 3mm lugs. So if you are in a more packed area for running and dry areas, you can actually cut off these lugs and make them 3mm lugs. So what kind of I noticed about here, actually it says cuttable blocks right here on this outsole too. So what I noticed about this outsole is it's Michelin and it's lime green. And if you are a road cyclist from back 20 years ago, Michelin made road tires that had a lime green outer casing to the tire. So back when I was racing road bikes 20 years ago, I went out and looked for these kind of tires. Those are the tires that everybody wanted. They're Michelin tires. They're super sticky on the ground, so you can do cornering really well, but that also has low rolling resistance. So and it reminds me of those tires from 20 years ago that had the lime green Michelin tread on them. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's kind of the same material. Anyway, there is no exposed foam of any kind here because it's just all the rubber for ultimate protection, and then customizable lugs. In addition to that, if you prefer your trail shoes to drain when they get wet, so when you get water through the top, when you go through big puddles or running in mud, or it's raining outside like it is right now, you can actually drill or cut these two areas right here, and they will allow the shoe to drain. And there's actually drain holes in the midsole that allow the water to pass through the midsole, through the outsole, and outside. So you actually have customizable drain holes here as well. So Customize, you have cuttable block technology, they say on the outsole here. You have drain holes, and it actually tells you here. If you can see that, it says cut here for drainage right there. And customizable blocks, like I just said, and Michelin grippy outsole. We'll see how grippy it is when we actually get out on the trails. So, moving into the insole, here it gets even more special. So, the midsole and the insole are the same. It's the midsole insole. It's the insole midsole. So, what I mean by here is the insole, which contains the midsole material, is right here. This is the whole thing. It all comes out in one piece. So if you look inside, the midsole is just the other side of the outsole. There's a little piece of material here, a little bit of padding. I guess you can call that maybe the midsole, but that's not really it. That's kind of just protection from the outsole. So it's just outsole stitched to the upper, and then the whole midsole and insole are one piece. All right, so everybody knows about the super shoes. Everybody knows the carbon plate shoes for road running. There's a couple companies out there that are making carbon plate trail shoes out there as well. I know the North Face Vective line has a carbon plate shoe, and I actually have a pair of them, and we'll be doing a review of them as well. And there was a couple other ones I can't think of the top of my head, but this shoe is also a super shoe, carbon plated shoe with an insole. Doop, there it is. Here's your carbon plate. That adds stiffness when you're running, so I'm not going to flex it too much because I don't want to break it. However, if you want to be customizable and you don't want a carbon plate in your shoe, you can take the carbon plate out. How do you do that? Right here, it tells you how to do it. Twist and lock kind of technology. So, if you want to take this carbon plate out, you take the midsole, insole out of the shoe. You just turn it this way and pull. Carbon plate out. You put that back in your shoe, and you're on the road without a carbon plate. So if you want a more in-touch feel with the ground and want to feel all the little rocks and roots and everything, and you want a more flexible shoe, take the carbon plate out. It's a tuned carbon plate, so it means it has a split here. So your big toe would be over in this area, and then the rest of your foot would be over here. So yeah, I'm going to try it with the carbon plate. I prefer carbon plates. I race on the road with carbon plate shoes, and I figured let's throw all the technology we can at this. So we're going to put this back in here, and it's pretty simple to do it, relatively speaking. Just put it in there and then twist it, and you're locked back in. Has a little space, a little home for it to go so it doesn't slide around. And then you put that whole thing back in to the shoe, and in it goes back in to the shoe, and there you have your insole, midsole back in there. All right, so now, the other thing I wanted to point out in the insole, midsole, since I mentioned the drain holes in the outsole, in the midsole, insole, you also have the same drain holes here that are already available for you. So these will line up with the holes that you could drill on the outsole if you want your shoes to drain. So there you go. So lots of customization here with the outsole, with the midsole, and now you can customize your fit with the upper. So the first thing I want to point out with the upper is the obvious, here's the elephant in the room, is the BOA enclosure. So if you're into cycling at all, mountain biking, cyclocross, road, all those shoes have, not all of them, but the whole line, there are cycling shoes that have these BOA enclosures. If you're into skiing, I have a pair of ski boots that also have these BOA enclosures, and they offer it in a nice dialed in fit to give you the precise fit that you need. So no laces here, they get untied, you just ratchet it down to as tight as you want it. And if you want to loosen it real quick, you just pull the dial and it will all come undone for you, no problem. You can also dial it backwards. If you go too tight, you can just dial it back a little bit and loosen it up just a touch. So you can dial right on in. This would be great for if you're doing any kind of off-road duathlon or triathlon and want to get into a quick transition shoe. There you go. Or you just want a really well dialed in trail shoe, the BOA enclosure. So there's two of them here. Some other shoes for running do have BOA enclosures, but I think all of them, except for maybe maybe Innovate. I forget, one other shoe company has, I think, 2, but most of the other shoes only have 1. Here they offer 2 to give you a snug forefoot and a snug arch area as well. So there you go, the boa enclosure on the Speedplay trail shoes. Now, the upper, again, goes into the kind of fabric we're talking about. Now, this fabric is very special. I had to look it up because I wasn't sure what it was. But it is Dyneema. It is the fabric for this shoe. Dyneema, it doesn't mean anything to most people. It didn't mean anything to me until I looked it up. And I'm going to look it up real quick here to just read what I read about Dyneema. And it says here, Dyneema is a high-strength synthetic fiber that is capable of protecting an individual or a vehicle from threats like an improvised explosive device, an IED, or shots from AK-47. One of Dyneema's main uses is for armored vehicle protection. So we have a bulletproof shoe here, literally. It's a different kind of, it's slightly different for the shoe, obviously, but it's also used in camping. Most of the materials are waterproof. I'm not sure if this is going to be a waterproof Dyneema, but it's used for tarps and canvas bags and that kind of thing. So it's a very strong material. So you shouldn't develop holes in it right away. So yeah, Dyneema. I don't know how they figured out to get Dyneema, but that's intelligent. I like it. It's also very light. The high strength to weight ratio. There is no tongue. It's got basically a sock liner material here, just one piece. So there is no tongue. You just ratchet down, and there you go. That's your tongue. And then there is a protective area around the toe bumper here to provide you some protection from rocks and thorns and debris and such like that. So, and then go around to the heel. It has the name of the shoe on the back. This is how I know what it is because the name is kind of awkward. SL/PDX, SL:/PDX. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. But this, and then back here in the heel area, the heel, it comes up here to here to give you some cushion around the protection around the Achilles. It does have a little cushion bumper area to help with the lockdown and provide support around your Achilles area, which is very soft and very nice. It's like Alcantara, which is what you find in Porsches and Lamborghinis and exotic cars. It's very soft, it's very cushiony, and man, it feels fantastic. So the other thing I wanted to point out was that I skipped was the carbon plate. It is by CarbonX. So I'm not sure if that means anything, but it's a CarbonX carbon plate. So, and this whole shoe was designed by Dave and Kevin from Speedland in Oregon. So it's a U.S. shoe, and yeah, looks like it's pretty well thought out. It tells you all these little things all over the place. It's got little tiny Easter eggs all over the shoe, like where it tells you to cut out for the drain holes, where it tells you this is the toe bumper, a little Easter egg right there, if you can read that. And then here it says run with the land, and Michelin, and the cut blocks, all kinds of little Easter eggs all over the shoe. So it tells you where it was designed. It says designed in Portland, Oregon, right here on the insole, midsole area. So, and then it also touts that it's a Michelin outsole. All right, so what's the weight? What's the drop? What we got here? So in the men's 9, this is a 10.6 ounce shoe. I'll put grams down here below. That's with the uncut lugs. If you cut the lugs, it's 9.9 ounces, which is a pretty decent weight. 10.6. It's an average weight. I would say average weight for a trail shoe. It also has about 5 millimeter drop. So I think it's 28 millimeters in the back and 23 up front, if I remember correctly. So it's not a high stack height, which is good. You get lower to the ground, better stability. And speaking of stability, let's see if it can dance a little bit. See if you twist it. So it does twist a little bit. Yeah, and it does flex a little bit even with the carbon plate, but it's pretty stiff. It's a pretty stiff thing. To check out squishy the outsole is, it's pretty responsive. So yeah, it's pretty responsive. because it doesn't appear that there's any foam other than in the insole midsole. So we'll check out how squishy the insole midsole is. We'll take that back out and take a look at that real quick. Let's see here. So how squishy is it? Yeah, that's nice. That's really nice and soft. I like that. So yeah, just kind of pushing on it. It's yeah, it's soft. It's not like sponge, like squishy soft. It's like a good. It reminds me of the foam that's used in some of the Skechers shoes. It's similar to that. It's like a nice, responsive yet soft material. I like it. So have not run in these shoes yet. We'll be doing that in another video. But just wanted to go over the specifications of the shoe and the kind of materials, and hope I didn't miss anything. Again, very customizable, very aggressive if you want it, but doesn't have to be. Trail shoe, and lime green. Boy, this boy stands out, I'll tell you what. So anyway, we're going to end this video here. We're going to take these shoes out for a run today and hopefully post a video within the next couple days of that. So that's it. If you have questions about the shoe, comment down below. And also I'll put the link to the Speedland website, and you can find out more about the company and order a pair, because these guys make a shoe and a hat and a shirt, and that's that. There you go. Until next time, peace.